Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach is now open, and let me tell you, it's amazing. If you're looking for a brand new 2020 to 2025 Kia, there is something for you. Every car has so many awesome features, it will be hard to pick just one. Plus, the safety tech and that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's peace of mind in every mile. If you've been putting off car shopping, now's the time. Don't wait any longer. Get down to Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, trade keys, and drive home a new Kia today. So, which one will you choose? See my friend Lonnie Mister at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach and find out why there are more Kias on the road every day. Call 800-NEW-KIAS or Lonnie at 561-433-1511 and check us out online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, where your new Kia is waiting for you.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Collins!
A packed weekend of college sports. People don't know what they like or what they want to complain about because coming into the weekend, it's all about we don't want Cinderellas. We want to see the best play the best. We're kind of over it. Then no lower-seeded teams win, and all of a sudden it turns to NIL is destroying college athletics. Change it all. Burn it to the ground. The Cinderella is over. It's a facade. It's a story. Mythology. What do we want? It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with you live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach on ESPN 106.3. Also streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Next 2 hours with you. Packed program today. Lots to talk about as we lead you up until the Sweet 16, which is kind of coming up this weekend. MLB opening day coming up this week as well. We got the TGL playoffs, which will be on site tomorrow at the SoFi Center in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Lot to talk about, lot to do. Next 2 hours, you're with us on Russo and Rizzo. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. All right, Mike. No Cinderellas won. And that's the storyline from the weekend. Was it a great weekend in terms of how great the games were? But yesterday specifically was very good. But the namesake, the storyline, is that no double-digit seed has moved on to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Is it Armageddon?
Outside of Arkansas is a 10.
You're right.
I don't mind let's make one thing clear. Arkansas isn't a Cinderella. They have Calipari. They have McDonald's, former McDonald's All-Americans on the team. Colin, I love it. This is the tournament I want.
First time since 2019 that no mid-major makes the Sweet 16.
Is this not the tournament that I asked you for going into this to this bracket season? I absolutely love that we're going to get some of the best matchups. I thought the UConn-Florida game was great. I thought the Arizona-Oregon game was great. We had a buzzer beater in the Maryland and Colorado State game. The Michigan State game was a good game up until about 3-4 minutes left to go in the game. Duke is by far the best team of the field. At least, I know Baylor, not the best 9 seed you're going to play. I don't think they were a UConn. I don't think they were a Creighton. But I think Duke kind of pulling away from the field a little bit. I think there are plenty of storylines. And then 7 SEC teams. 7 SEC teams out of the 16 teams. I think it's time for me to eat that plate of crow, Kyle. I loved what I saw over the weekend, and I like that we're going to get top-tier matchups coming up in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. I'm here for it.
No 11-plus seed has made the second weekend. First time since 2007 that has happened, that no 11-plus seed in the NCAA tournament has made the second weekend. In terms of the drama, it was not a dramatic weekend. It was not. I don't think the quality of play was all that great. The second round got better. That St. John's, Arkansas game was great. That UConn-Florida game was great. I think that Maryland, Colorado State, and the UConn-Florida game were the best 2 games of the weekend by and large. The Arizona-Oregon game, like you said, was interesting. It was ugly, but it was an intriguing game nonetheless. There wasn't a ton of drama because a lot of the higher seeds, in a lot of ways, were effectively unchallenged. And whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess remains up to you, because in the years past, when Cinderella's knocked teams off left and right, all of a sudden, when it's second weekend and you're trying to get excited for, FAU, FDU, it's hard if you're the Kalman fan. If you're the casual fan and Fairleigh Dickinson's playing FAU, it's similar to Texas Tech, Arkansas. Is that a big-time game? No. But that's the nature of Cinderella. It's a give-and-take relationship. And this is just one of those years by pattern where no lower-seeded underdog-type team takes it to the second weekend. I don't necessarily think this is a problem. And there's rumblings of, hey, this is a reflection of the new age of college athletics. The new age of college athletics states that the higher-seeded teams just get to buy and pluck every good player throughout the mid and low majors in Division I, even Division II, and they get to plug and play them year in and year out, and the mid-major teams have no chance to put together a roster year in and year out to succeed in the tournament level. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think this weekend, in such small sample size, is a reflection of that.
We've been doing NIL for 3 years, and we've had plenty of Cinderellas pop up. I mean, when FAU and San Diego State went all the way to the Final Four, NIL was as wild west as it could possibly get. People were buying players like crazy back then as well. So I disagree with that. I trust me, I understand the take, Colin. I record a commercial, open up the curtain a little bit, called the Sports Business Minute for our good friends over at FAU. And I nonetheless talked about what we're talking about. Is the NIL, do you think the NIL is a direct reflection of all these, 1 seeds, 4 seeds, 5 seeds going on Sweet 16? I don't think it's it. It's just that kind of year. I think I underestimated Florida. I underestimated Duke. I underestimated Auburn. It looked like, Colin, what I had might come to fruition. Creighton played Auburn good for a half. UConn was all over Florida. And you're going to have to, Colin, I know we'll get into that game later on, but 3.5 on, I thought UConn was absolutely terrible in that game. I thought they had that game won 2 different times. But the fact of the matter, I think these teams are just better. I think these teams that have been constructed, these 1 seeds, are just clearly better than whatever is on the field. So I think it's something to keep an eye on for years to come. But you have chalk years sometimes. Like I understand the statistics. The first time since 2007 that an 11 seed and beyond hasn't gotten there. I hear it. But I think it's good for the sport. I think there's going to be a ton of people watching Thursday and a ton of people watching Friday. I think Maryland...
Well, people watch regardless. You think this is good for the sport that we don't have a small market team?
I do. And I think people are going to hitch their wagons to a BYU. And I think people are going to hitch the wagon to Arkansas and Coach Cal.
No.
You don't think so?
No. You think people are searching for a Cinderella are going to go to Arkansas?
One thing that I learned is that people want to see mayhem and want. Not everyone thinks like me. Not everyone loves the 1 versus 4, Colin. Not everyone wants the top tier teams going at it. I think people are going to.
You just told me 5 minutes ago that Arkansas is not a Cinderella.
They're not, but they're going to the people that are looking for Cinderellas, Colin.
10:09 on Thursday. You think everybody's going to be lining up down the block to watch that?
All I'm saying is they're going to hitch their wagon to something, and I can see it being Arkansas and BYU because those are probably the teams that I would say are the most Cinderella-esque. How about that? Ole Miss?
There's no Cinderellas. There's no Cinderella-esque team. There's none. BYU has the second largest NIL fund outside of Duke in college basketball.
And they got the number 1 player in the
Arkansas
country coming in.
Arkansas has Walmart money.
I don't think
How are these guys Cinderellas? That doesn't make any sense.
But the people that are looking for Cinderellas are going to hitch their wagon to something, and I could see it being those 2 teams.
I don't think there's no Cinderella. That's my takeaway. There's just none.
There's none. I'm not arguing.
Michigan have money. Yes. Does Auburn have money? Yes. Houston has money. Purdue has money. Kentucky, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Michigan State. This is all football money schools.
I'm with you. I don't think there is a Cinderella, but people are going to make their case.
That's the answer.
People are going to make their case for a 10 Arkansas at BYU who you don't see there every year. That's all I'm saying. And I know it's Cal. I like Calipari.
My
bracket's busted.
You're just doing that for the seeding. This is a team that has Walmart NIL money with them.
And McDonald's All-Americans and Wagner and company.
5 stars all over the place.
I know. Trust Colin, I know. I'm just saying.
There's people, I don't know what you're saying.
How many, where were we?
I don't know what you're saying.
Last week at TGL, people were like, oh, we love Cinderellas. They'll probably hitch their wagon to the high seats with Arkansas and BYU. That's my best guess.
There's just no Cinderella. So find a team that you think is going to win it all or you want to root for and go with it. I don't know if you're just going to do it for the sake of doing it for a smaller, lesser seeded team because these guys are not Cinderellas. Their bottom line, BYU went 26-9 and they're in the Big 12. That's a Cinderella. Arkansas was in the SEC. They have Coach Calipari, top 6'5" coach in the sport. Hey, that's not a Cinderella.
I'm fine with it, man. Screw Cinderella as far as I'm concerned. Kyle, these are going to be great games.
Fine.
It's going to be great. These are the best teams. This is what we're.
But the question is about the the question is about the NIL.
I don't.
I think it has something to do with it.
What? It might have something to do with it, but the last 2 years, we weren't hearing that. We weren't hearing that because some of the Cinderellas and whatever were there. I just think it's one of those years where these teams that were constructed, a lot of it maybe had to do with NIL.
Do you not think NIL is evolving? I mean, FAU and San Diego State was 2 years ago. That was 2 years, and they got 4 years in NIL.
I think a lot of it had, you look at Michigan. Michigan plucked a lot from FAU, obviously because the coach went there. Florida with Martin, they got an FAU player. I obviously,
John L. Davis at Arkansas.
Obviously, NIL has something to do with it. But where was this energy for the last 2-3 years? This wasn't necessarily the story. It wasn't that NIL is ruining Cinderella because there are a lot of Cinderellas that were there. It just happens that this is one of those years where they weren't.
I agree with that, but I think that there's probably merit to the argument that the high majors. It's a matter of if you're going to put it together in a pie chart. Who benefits the most off of the floodgates of the NIL, the lack of barriers to the NIL? Is it the low major team who now all of a sudden gets more access to the higher-rated high school players because the higher-rated high school players, as Rick Pitino said earlier in the year, are not necessarily getting found by those top-tier teams because they either are not going to play or they don't need them because they're looking for transfers. So there's that. But there's also to the other end that the high major teams have the money and the power and the brand recognition to pluck whoever they want year in and year out to put together a roster. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess is entirely up to you. But for me, I think that this NIL is a testament. No wonder that no mid-majors are succeeding. Now, Colorado State was about 3 seconds away in a travel call from being in this tournament and this conversation not even being a thing. But there was a surprising lack, especially in that first round, a lack of pressure, of tension, of intensity from those lower seeds, at least for the most part, comparatively to years past. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I personally wanted a little more drama. The game stunk in those first 2 days. But to me, I see both sides. I do. And I think you'd be a fool not to say that the NIL, which the higher seeded teams, the top teams in the country, have a plethora of resources to put together as best they can. If you're Drake, how do you feel if you're Drake? How does that help the mid-major that the second-year coach, a year after signing a 5-year deal with Drake, now takes the Iowa job? Yeah. The Colorado State coach signed with Minnesota before the plane landed.
Sean Miller,
Xavier, it's a stepping stone job.
You understand, though. It's the same thing.
Will Wade. So I understand from a perspective that the mid-major teams, the low-major teams, get more access to high-level JUCO recruits, high-level high school recruits because higher-seeded or high-major teams don't want them. But to the same token, how are you supposed to put together a roster year in and year out to try to compete when you have to flush it out and reset every single year?
I'm not ready to overreact after 1 year.
Neither am I. If this is too small of a sample size.
If this continues to be a thing, sure, we'll overreact. But I think we got to continue to monitor it. If it continues to happen 2-3 years in a row, all right, maybe there is a problem. And I think I'm not saying NIL is going to be completely fixed, Kyle, within 2-3 years, but I think steps towards the right direction are going to be made. How about the only double-digit seed advancing, busting my bracket? How about that? Arkansas. It's the only upset. The only and guess what? It busted Mike Rizzo, buddy. It busted my bracket. The damn Johnnies. And we had our top 63 event for our high school. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's where our station ranks the top high school basketball players. We do it for football. It was our first year for basketball. I didn't get to watch like any of the game, so I had to go back, watch highlights and whatever. God, the Johnnies were terrible. They had their worst first half. That was the worst first half we've seen them play all year, and the second half didn't get any better. If the Johnnies were still alive, Colin, I'd be right there in there. But with my champion gone, I'm busted, bud. I'm busted.
Yeah, the brackets. My bracket's been dead since day one. But
what? Because of Clemson?
Yeah.
What's your game? What's your championship game?
Florida Duke.
You're good.
How is that good?
Because you have your championship game.
Everybody has Florida Duke.
You gotta.
Everybody has Florida Duke.
Auburn. Okay?
Auburn.
Yeah, you're done.
Everybody has that.
You're done. You don't have.
I have a bracket winner and they lost. That's the term you're looking for. I have a bracket winner and they lost.
There you go. Answers my question, but the one high seed to go ruined me. Ugh. Everyone's alive but me. Anyway.
UConn took it to Florida yesterday. Florida, one of, if not the best team in the field, got completely blitzed in a lot of ways by UConn yesterday, and Dan Hurley and that staff put together quite a performance. And one of the best games of the tournament, close towards the end. Walter Clayton, that guy's a hero. I mean, that's the only way to put it. That guy is a superstar.
Right.
But Dan Hurley, of course, goes to the media after the game. He's emotional here. And then all of a sudden, there's a video of him going through the tunnel post-game, talking about the refs and a bunch of cuss words that I can't say on the radio. And Dan Hurley talking about the refs and the whole thing, whining and whining and whining. And the same conversation happens about Dan Hurley being the ultimate villain of college basketball. We'll get into that. We'll get into a little Rick Pitino, a little more college basketball as we roll on with the program. First, 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. Are you starting to call fire a little bit that no Cinderellas really had a shot this year in the NCAA tournament? Outside of Colorado State, it was a pretty unremarkable first weekend in terms of a story. Is that a problem for you? Is this a reflection of the NIL? Or is this just, by and large, this is what happens year by year? Sometimes it's chalky, sometimes it's not. Let us know. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the Russo and Rizzo. We take a timeout on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Hi, I'm Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. As you have likely seen and heard, law firm advertising is at an all-time high. Attorney ads seem to be part of every radio and TV commercial segment. Some firms are even using paid actors and actresses to speak for them. At Smith Ball Baez and Prather, we know that the decision to hire a law firm should never be based on advertisements alone. It is our past results and many positive 5-star reviews that we encourage you to read at smithball.com to learn more about our law firm. We have board-certified lawyers. We have lawyers listed in the best lawyers in America and in super lawyers. But most importantly, we have experienced lawyers located right here in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast that are ready to be your advocate and your voice, and fully prepared to start fighting for your legal rights today. Our purpose, legal power. Our mission, huge results. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today. Don't miss out on this incredible course. And please, putt responsibly.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit one checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Been a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall at an accident of any kind. My friend Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys are the type to fight for you. I know with Anajar and Levine, they got my back no matter what, and they don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. They're the best in the business for a reason. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes is one phone call to take back control of your life today. Don't wait. Call for that consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo. Christian Cat with us, as always, at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. A Monday spring edition, the March the 24th, 2025, of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Dan Hurley yesterday in the early slate on the Sunday game is for the second round of the NCAA tournament, round of 32 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Florida and UConn in an outstanding game. And I give Mike credit. Mike was on UConn beating Florida here. I thought one of two things would happen. UConn was either going to beat them or they were going to lose by about 40 points. And I give that UConn credit and Dan Hurley credit because they gave them an excellent punch. First 5 minutes, you could tell this team's going to hang around all game. A very tension-riddled game, intense game, and Florida really not fortunate, but they made some crucial plays down the stretch to get them over the hump. They were lucky that UConn didn't necessarily have a closer to close out that game. They were leading for the entire half, 61-59 with 3 minutes to go. And missed layup, couple turnovers by Solo Ball, and all of a sudden a foul, steal, and a dunk. All of a sudden it's a 6-point lead on the other end, and the game was too far out of reach. Now, the question is not necessarily about that game. It's more about the ethicality, once again, because this happens about 3-4 times a year, of Dan Hurley. And Dan Hurley is probably the most polarizing coach in college basketball at the moment. Went through, did you see the video of him going through the tunnel post-game and saying, "Hey, Baylor, I hope they don't screw you," he says it with a little bit more French on it. But, "Hey, I hope the refs don't screw you like they screwed us, Baylor." And while Baylor's waiting to take the court next, hopefully they don't screw you like they screwed us. If you watch the game, the referees had nothing to do with that game.
Yeah, it's why I said I can't make heads or tails on what he was really complaining about.
They had nothing to do with that game. Unbelievable.
3-0. I go to the 3:05 mark. Caravan misses a layup, and all hell broke loose.
That was the
after
biggest
that.
play of the game. He missed that layup. Walter Clayton comes back, other end of the court, hits a contested three. Then the play after that, Solo Ball turns it over on a pass to McNeely, and they get a breakaway dunk. Game was you can't play from behind against them. They were playing from ahead. They were kind of keeping them at bay. You're sort of just watching that game, waiting for Florida to open up a little bit.
That's a good point.
And that's why it was so tense. It was such a tense finish. It was such a nerve-wracking finish. And I'm a UConn fan. But I can't sit there and say that the referees screwed them out of the game. And I think the referees had a rough weekend. I think the Arkansas St. John's game, the referees were entirely too ticky-tack. But, I mean, it depends. It wasn't the UConn game, though.
No, and another one as well was Michigan State. I thought New Mexico definitely got the short end of the stick as far as calls. But, Colin, if there's a coach that can do this, that can complain and me not have a problem with it, it's Hurley.
I agree.
If there's a coach that can get away with it.
So much. Like, yeah, he complains. He's been complaining. He complains even when he wins.
Right. I'm fine with it. This is, I guess, on par is the term I'm looking for, but this is...
It's par for the course.
It really is. And you knew that he was going to do something like this after the game, but I thought he was, in his post-game presser, the waterworks started coming. He said how much he loved the team. This is who he is. I have no problem with Dan Hurley complaining about the referees and crying for his kids at the end of the game.
Did you see allegedly that a UConn official, a communications guy or whatever it is, told the guy who took the video of Hurley coming out of the tunnel saying, "Hey, Baylor, don't let them screw you like they screw us," and basically threatened the guy to take him down.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
The UConn Mafia account?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a UConn communications guy. I don't have enough about it, but apparently
Christian,
that's what happened.
the UConn Mafia.
Don't ask him about the UConn Mafia. He's in that family,
That's right. He doesn't. He has no idea. He doesn't know.
Speaking of Colin Russo, he's on the inside.
He doesn't know. But Kyle, and honest to God, partner, I wanted to give you the 24-hour rule. I didn't want to text you yesterday.
I wasn't too heartbroken.
Okay,
It wasn't a heartbreaking loss.
Okay.
It was that team, considering how much of a train wreck of a season in a lot of ways, that sort of the directions it took and the bracket that they got, they played the best team, in my opinion, in the tournament. And they led them for the entirety of the second half. Yeah, they could have won, but I got to be pleased with the effort.
Yeah,
I can't sit here and there's nothing to complain about. They missed opportunities. They squandered a couple opportunities.
I go back to the seedings. Like UConn was better than an 8. Creighton was better than a 9. And I know I was going to say the Big East kind of got royally you-know-what, but the Johnnies were a 2 and they completely fumbled it to a 10 seed. So I'll retract that. It's the first loss in 3 years. That's why I wanted to, Kyle, you don't know how to lose. You learned how to lose yesterday again.
And for me, if you're one of those haters of Dan Hurley, there are so many more polarizing figures in college basketball at the coaching position that have had a little shakier of histories comparatively to Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley, yeah, he's a hothead. He's always wears the hard hat. Like, he's from Jersey. Like, if you know anything about his father's a legendary high school coach at St. Anthony's in New Jersey, world famous coach. His father is a psycho. So is Dan. That's sort of why they're successful. That's why they are as, I guess, fun as they are, because they're nuts. My brother was on that staff. He could tell you stories till the cows come home about how crazy Hurley is. But that's part of the allure. That's part of the beauty to him, because he's not sending strippers to recruits' houses like Patino did at Louisville. He's not doing the things that Chris Beard was doing.
Justice for Rick.
I mean, these guys a little shakier on their end comparatively to what Hurley's complaining about the referees. Everybody complains about the referees.
Colin, when you win back to back, I feel like you get a lot of leadway. Wait, when you're a winner. It helps when you win. You can do whatever the hell you want when you win. That's why I said it's par for the course when you lose for the first time in the NCAA tournament for 3 years. Yeah, of course Hurley was going to make a fool of himself. And I don't even think he made a fool of himself. As I keep saying, par for the course. It was par for the course for Dan Hurley. And to be honest, I loved every second of it. I loved the theater.
He was
I
wrong.
loved the drama.
He was wrong.
I'm not saying he was right, buddy, but I'm just saying.
It's fine. You're wrong. All right. Don't complain about the rest. You didn't say that in post-game. That's what happened.
It's theater. It's drama. It's everything you want. It's everything you want when you're running a show. This whole March Madness is a show. Dan Hurley played his part. I wish he would have won, but golly, they should have won. 305 Alex Caravan. I keep going back to that. I thought something was going to go my way over the weekend on that damn bracket. The one thing that did was Kentucky, but we're on UConn right now. The one thing that went right for me was the Wildcats.
They didn't make plays. That wasn't. I didn't look at that and think that the referees are royally screwing them here. I was thinking that UConn is a bunch of serial foulers, and they had a little understaffed and not the proper consistency with the team all year, and they were able to take the number one team in the entire tournament, in my opinion, the team that I think should be the favorite to win it all. They took that team down to the brink. Is a successful season.
I also loved the game plan. I loved them playing roughhouse with Florida.
Completely outcoached them. So if you wanted, you could hate Hurley as a personality. You cannot hate him as a coach, because he completely outcoached Todd Golden in Florida. Completely. Todd Golden had better talent. They have better players.
And I almost said Florida got lucky at the end. That'd be unfair for me to say.
It's not fair.
That'd be unfair.
Clayton was a hero.
Correct. That'd be unfair for me to say, but he bailed them out. How about this? Clayton bailed them out.
And offensive rebounds.
Clayton bailed them out.
Offensive rebounds on free, and they were missing free throws. Offensive rebounds on free throws, and Walter Clayton hitting multiple impossible shots to finish off the game.
Right.
That is why Florida won. It was not because of the coaching. If you have any doubts about how good UConn's coaching staff is, point in that direction, because that team was tremendously at a disadvantage talent-wise. Tremendous disadvantage.
So you mentioned Florida being the best team. You're still more impressed with them than Duke, Kyle?
Yeah, Duke is great, and if they have guys hitting, I can't get a read on Duke because they haven't been challenged yet. Maybe that's a testament to how good they are, but I don't think Baylor's that good either.
Yeah. I think they're well coached. I like Scott Drew a lot, but you could see the talent discrepancy. And Cooper Flagg, did you see his?
They are going to kill Arizona. They're going to dominate.
Now, Caleb Love played a bit of hero ball. What, 27 points for Caleb Love? Yeah. I think. And
they were that nightcap
he knows Duke
game,
well.
They were begging Arizona, that is begging
Oregon to come back
to lose that game, begging. Just a bunch of stupid mistakes, boneheaded mistakes.
Yeah.
Arizona is not that good. And Oregon's not that good either.
How about Flagg's?
Duke is going to kill them.
How about Flagg's eye? First, 5 minutes of the game, he gets up. His eyes just completely disformed. I still, what did he get, slapboxed to the face? I thought originally it was like an elbow.
Right.
Then I saw the replay, and it literally looks like he just got like 5-starred in the eye. Every time they panned to him, Colin, obviously, which was all game, I couldn't help but to laugh.
Are you still team 1 seed still on the way, or did you see a team that could make a big run in that first weekend?
I thought the team to beat Auburn was Creighton. I don't trust Michigan enough to do the job. I really don't. So it's probably going to be 1 seed's Rushed all the way through. Gonzaga, I thought they had played a little inspired for a little bit, but Houston was still too much for them. It's probably going to be all the 1 seeds if I had to guess. Now, Kentucky is interesting. If their bigs continue to play the way that they're playing, if Otegwa,
if defensively they're playing the way they are,
but Otega is a hell of a player too. If Bray's going to continue to hit his threes, look out. You got to stay hot. You got to stay hot in this tournament. I don't know how sustainable that's going to be for Kentucky. I do think they get past Tennessee, and I do think they'll play Houston, but I think Houston is just a different animal. And how about Sampson too? I thought Sampson was pretty funny to the media after the game as well. I thought, dude, your colors show after these games when you're in a win-or-go-home situation.
Now, Kentucky has beaten Tennessee twice.
Yeah, we've had their number. We've had their number.
It's hard to beat 3 times.
That's why I said I think they advance. We've had Rick Barnes in Tennessee's number all year. Maybe that's cocky Kentucky fan stepping in here, but it's a Sweet 16. Anything happen. Colin, honest to God, as a Kentucky fan, I'm just happy to be at the second weekend again. I think this year was a success. I understand they probably didn't play the best of teams.
Yeah, wherever you are from here, that's a success.
Yeah, I think getting back to the Sweet 16 and relevancy is good, and even playing devil's advocate, too. I love seeing Calipari back in relevance as well because I love Coach Cal. I know my bracket's busted because of Coach Cal and that team, but I told my brother and my buddies, I said, thank God. Honestly, since it was Cal, it's not that. I'm not that bitter this year.
And how fortunate is the tournament that we finally got a game winner in that Maryland-Colorado State game?
Oh, and how about the young freshman wanting the ball?
That was a great postgame. And I believe it was Andy Katz who was doing postgame with Kevin Willard right after. He asked all the right questions. What are you doing after this? And Derek Queen, who was on that star-studded freshman team with Montverde, with Cooper Flagg and all those guys. But, a nice kid post-game. Good for Maryland. They needed that.
Yeah.
I think if they lost that game, they'd be in danger of losing their coach. Now I don't think that. That's how important that game was. If you're a Maryland fan, I think you got to really know what's going on in the inner workings of that program. I think that coach would have been gone if they lost that game to a different program. That would have not fired, but taken a different job. That is a very important win for the sake of Maryland. And I think them and Florida will actually be a good game. That's the second game this coming Thursday.
And it's good to see Maryland finally contribute. As a Big Ten guy, too, it's good to see Maryland finally contribute to the Big Ten because they certainly don't do it in football.
Yeah, we were all pro Big Ten coming out of the first round. They're 8-0. And then all of a sudden they started dropping like flies. A couple teams left and right.
Colin, how much of the Michigan State game did you watch? They almost deserved to lose that.
Oh, with New Mexico?
They almost.
They killed them at the end.
They did, but a lot of bad calls. And listen, I I got Sparty in the Final Four. My bracket's busted, but regardless, I was rooting for Michigan State. My uncle went there. My family was at the game. They had their Sparty gear on. I thought a lot of calls went their way towards the end of that game, pal. I really did. I really did.
They out hustled them. That was my takeaway. They out hustled them. They were getting every loose ball. They got multiple offensive rebounds, including that crucial one at the end of the game for the putback with Jace Richardson.
And that was his first score of the game. How about that? He had 0 points.
If you do that, you don't deserve to win. Get a rebound. Yeah, that's my takeaway. Get a rebound. If you're not going to out hustle these teams, that's how you're going to win. Michigan State is exceptional at doing the little things right. Exceptional. They go 10 deep and they play the right way. They do not beat themselves, and they will do every little thing right. They have no stars. That's how they win.
And they're going to capitalize on your mistakes, too. Coach Izzo and that team have been such a fast break, second chance point-esque kind of team that if you give them a sliver, they're going to make you pay. I totally
Now, do you
agree.
have a problem with Pitino post-game? And, the Pitino being there is not a big deal. But Rick Pitino, that is, losing to Calipari. And I believe they were 2-2 going into the game. And now Calipari is now 3-2. The first guy ever to take, I believe, a fourth team to that second weekend of the tournament.
Love Cal.
But Rick Pitino benched R.J. Lewis, St. John's' best player, for the last about 4 minutes of the game. And it was a tight game, back and forth. St. John's kind of on the outside looking in against Arkansas. R.J. Lewis was 3 of 17.
Yeah, I was about to say. The context.
3 of 17. But St. John's is probably second most important player, maybe third. Kadari Richmond was out of the game, fouled out. And St. John's desperately needed some offense, and their Big East, he's the Big East player of the year. R.J. Lewis had him on the bench for the last 4 minutes of the game. And when they asked Pitino about it post-game, he straight up said, I'm not giving you the soundbite. Played 30 minutes. That's plenty of time. You know why he didn't play.
Yeah, yep.
You have a problem with that? Your guy being on the bench for whatever reason at the end of the game, principle-wise.
I don't, because he played him out of the game. 3 of 17, Colin. It's not like, it was all 3 of 10. He took a couple of bad shots. Partner, 3 of 17. You missed 14 shots.
But 1 second, he came out of the game, and they couldn't get they couldn't get anything going offensively.
And this is a Hall of Fame coach. I'm bound to trust the coach. Looked like now hindsight 2020, the coach probably made the wrong move. I think we could all agree on that. But I'm not going to grill Rick Pitino, who's had success everywhere he's gone, and I'm not going to grill the guy for not having the guy who bricked 14 shots and was arguably the reason this was a game in the first place on the bench. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm probably not.
It's a tricky spot because for whatever reason, it doesn't matter if the guy's playing terrible or not. It's about, do you have your guy in at the end of the game?
How about Arkansas too? I thought Kansas played poorly, and I thought St. John's played their worst game. From what I probably watched 7-8 games of St. John's this year. That was by far the worst game I've seen them play all year.
They were athletically matched, and that threw them off. They were athletically matched. But if Pitino didn't play R.J. Lewis, who was St. John's best player, the Big East player of the year, they did not play him for the last 4 minutes of the game.
Now
I've never seen anything like that.
I don't have a problem with it. Bricked 14 shots. What about you? You got a problem with that? I don't.
I don't, because from what I saw during the game, that guy was a black hole. Yeah, he was terrible.
Played him out of the game.
He was terrible. I watched the whole game. He was awful. Now, and he was taking bad shots. His body language was bad. The teammates were trying to get his confidence up the entirety of the second half. Couldn't do it. At a certain point, Pitino, if you watch anything that Pitino has done this year, his halftime speech against Providence, which went all over the internet, where he's talking about, he's like, guys, listen, I don't care about the missed shots. I care about your effort. He's like, who raised you to respond to adversity like that? There was a famous video of it a couple weeks ago, and that's exactly what he's talking about. R.J. Lewis, you had to peel him off the court. Sit down next to me. You want to be like that? You're a detriment to your teammates. Sit down next to me. Is it the best look for recruits? Probably not. But I think he honestly taught R.J. Lewis a whole lot more than he would have if he had stayed in the game, played terribly, and they still lost. I have no problem with him benching R.J. Lewis there. I'm surprised people went after Pitino. He got a lot of flack for that.
He did, and I liked what he said, though, because, obviously the reporter, Colin, was, as you alluded to, was looking for his soundbite, but he looked at the reporter dead in the eye and goes, I know what you're trying to do. He goes, I know what you're trying to do, and you know why he wasn't on the court. And we all did. We all did. You called him a black hole. Totally agree. The poor kid was the reason that they were in that position in the first place. He makes 3 or 4 shots, Colin, out of the 14 that he missed. They win that game.
I have no problem with it. Are you going to trust Pitino or R.J. Lewis? Who are you trusting there? Huh?
Right.
I I watched the game. If you're looking at it from outside and you think that he should have had him in the game, you didn't watch it. Because R.J. Lewis was one of the worst players on the entire court for that entirety of that St. John's game. He was terrible. Terrible. And he was forcing shots. Get him out. Sit down next to me.
What a win for Calipari, though, too.
Great win. And I think St. John's was a little frazzled. They didn't have their shooting down. And I agree, it was probably the worst St. John's game I've watched them play all year. I thought they were really good. They were better than what they played. But you get caught. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat with you. We roll on here live from the City Place Studios. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash. Enjoy unlimited inside and out hand washes for just $49.95 per month, less than the price of 2 washes. You'll get unlimited hand washes with sealer wax, dash, windows and vacuum, tire shined, and hand finished. All unlimited. Not a member? Stop and get a quick wash anytime at great prices. And during January and February, if you join our club, you'll only pay $25 a month for the first 2 months and then $49.95 thereafter. Visit us at unlimitedautowashclub.com or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Miami, we know you can party, and we know you love your golf. So don't miss out, because the next Live Golf event isn't just big, it's a monster. Live Golf returns to Trump National Doral, April 4th to 6th. And because it's at Blue Monster, we're going big, as well as giants of the game in Rahm, DeChambeau, Koepka, and more. We've got huge DJ sets, epic street food, and ska punk legend Sublime headlining. Grab your tickets at livegolf.com. That's livegolf.com.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Hi, I'm Michael Manzo, owner and founder of Manzo's Italian Deli, and I...
Stop, Dad. After 20 years, people are tired of hearing your voice.
Yeah, and your lame-ass commercials.
Fresh prosciutto, mozzarella, outstanding.
Oh, please.
There's only one reason Manzo's is voted #1 deli in Palm Beach County for 20 years. Our mother.
She makes sure you prepare everything from scratch using only the freshest ingredients.
Manso's Italian Deli is located on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, right next to Rain Dancers.
Is that a strip club?
No, it's a steakhouse. Manso's is open weekdays from 8 to 5 and offers free delivery. So stop by or call 697-9411. That's 697-9411.
We also specialize in hot and cold catering for corporate functions and special events.
Just ask anyone who was at my last birthday party.
She ain't gon' tie me down. Why you on the road? Got it on the shirts, all the hats, all the clothes. What you want right now? What up right now? I think you need to close your mouth, cause you ain't gon' tie me down.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
888-760-3776, and I'm going to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo as we roll on here on a Monday edition at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach with Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, and Christian Cat. Going to the phone lines really quick, 888-760-3776, and I'm going to get into the program. Cologne in New Jersey, welcome into the program. Cologne, what do you got for us?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Listen, I'm the St. John's team. Listen, I've seen a lot of St. John's teams today, and to me, I wanted them to win this game to validate the Big East and validate their season, St. John's season. And the leader of that team was Fadari Richmond. He was one of the best scorers, and he was in foul trouble the whole game. and that's why R.J. Lewis was out of sync. And when Kadari Richard fouled out with like 6 minutes left, that's when he took out Lewis out of the game. He was out of sync, and he went to Polish to take the 3 shots, and he was no good either. He was 1 for 6. So it wasn't their day. It wasn't going down.
So do you agree, Cologne? Do you agree with him benching R.J. Lewis, Patino that is, in the St. John's game? Do you agree with him benching R.J. Lewis last 5 minutes?
Listen, I believe you go down with your best player. I do that. But, this is Rick Pitino, Hall of Fame coach, and he has brought St. John's, back to relevant from 30 years, So you cannot praise him for doing a great job and bringing St. John's back, but then you're going to criticize him for the way he coaches. So I don't want to criticize. Would I have kept Lewis the best player? Yes. But when you have a Hall of Fame coach, I do believe he knows his team best. So I'm not going to criticize him. Because listen, I don't know if you guys will remember this, but 94, John Starks, Game 7, he went 2 for 18 with Pat Riley, the head coach. The next day, everybody criticized Pat Riley, and they wanted Orlando Blackman to end the game. Orlando Blackman did not play a single minute the whole series, and people still called and said he should have somehow worked them in. So, to me, you got to trust your coach, and especially if he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Appreciate the call, Cologne. He hit it right on the head. He nailed that. 100% agree. 100% agree with that.
Yep.
Hall of Fame coach, what are you going to challenge him? Do you want him to bring St. John's back or not?
Right.
Jeez.
Now, I will say, 2 points in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. They scored 2 points in the final 4 minutes of the game. That's rough, Kyle.
I agree.
That is rough.
Didn't work.
And this isn't me. I'm not bashing Patino or anything, but it's like, wow.
They were like that the whole game.
They were
going on spurts like that the whole game.
They really were. It just wasn't their day. The foul trouble, as you guys mentioned, with
you could dissect little decisions here and there, but that team was begging to lose. Begging to lose.
And it was the second team, and you guys know I love Cal. I'm not trying to underplay what Arkansas has done. But I could argue it's the second team that Arkansas played that did that. I thought Kansas did that, and I thought the Johnnies did it, obviously.
I would argue that if R.J. Lewis stayed in the game, if Patino kept him in, and he went 3 of 22, or he went 4 of 24, and they lost, people would have been screaming for the bench.
Right.
Why isn't the bench in the game? He's 4 of 20-something. Get him out of the game.
Yep.
It's the same thing. You want to know what the other side looks like because the side we're currently on didn't work.
Exactly. And it's to bring things full circle. We talked about Cinderella in segment number 1. It's the same exact thing. People are crying that Cinderellas aren't here because, it's the 1 year that it didn't happen. People are crying that it's because of the NIL. The NIL's been through the floodgates for the final 4 years. Where have you people been for the last 4 years? Where, that it's ruining the sport and ruining the mid-major.
Is it a problem? Yes. The transfer portal opened today in college basketball. Over 500 players have already entered. 500. It's probably going to go well into the thousands. That's just Division I. So it's a big free agency that just commenced for college basketball as well. Is it a problem? Yes. Nobody's denying that the NIL is a problem.
No.
Does it immediately reflect in tournament performance? I don't know if I'm there yet.
Right.
I don't think I'm there yet.
I don't want to hear that yet. Let's have this happen for 2-3 years in a row. And then if you want to make your point to that, I'll listen to it. I'm not listening to it now. I still argue that this is what basketball fans want. This is the weekend we want.
Is it?
I think so. I don't need to see Colorado State. I didn't need to see Colorado State in there yesterday. I'd much rather see Maryland. I would have been okay with one Cinderella. I'm surprised you're against that. Yeah, I know what last week at
Colorado
TGL.
State's good too. They're good.
Last week at TGL, I told you no, thank you, past the Sweet 16. I'm not necessarily shedding a tear that they're not here in the Sweet 16, Colin.
I want good basketball as well. I completely agree with you there. I would have been happy if there was a big story coming into the tournament because what is the story? What's the main story?
The story is Duke's dominance, and I feel like Florida. The
story is Duke's dominance?
The two storylines that I'm following the most: Duke's dominance and Florida dethroning UConn.
So Duke, who hasn't played a good game yet out of 2 games.
They won by 45 points, 43 points in game 1. And then I wasn't high on that Baylor team, but a lot of people were high. But a lot of people were.
The point is, it's a story with 2 bad games. Florida, they dethroned UConn. There's an intrigue.
They came back. Are they a team?
Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, talking about a big story here.
Duke is a story, though. The dominance of Duke so far is a storyline.
And you think it's enticing everybody? You think that's
enticing?
Feeding?
They got the best player on the team.
I agree.
Duke
is a story. It being the sole biggest story, I don't think that helps.
Then what is then? I think it's Duke in Florida right now.
Yeah. Houston, can they get over the hump?
Outside of the NIL conversation, sorry to cut you off. Outside of the NIL conversations, partner, I think it's Duke in Florida.
But the fact that it is, and I think Duke's not going to play a close game to the Elite Eight. That is a problem. You need something else. Ole Miss, Michigan State, Texas Tech, Arkansas. Where's the story there?
Well, Calipari's obviously the story.
There's
against
a reason
Texas
it's 10:09 on Thursday. There's a reason it's at 10:09 on Thursday.
Won't argue that.
There's a reason that it's at 10:09.
But I think Calipari is at least to basketball nuts like you and I think that's a huge storyline.
I'm not complaining. I love the Sweet 16 regardless of who's in it. It does not make a difference to me. But I do think that there is a merit. Both my teams lost in the round of 32. Wisconsin and UConn. Both of them lost. And I'm not sitting here gloating because they both deserve to lose.
God, I thought Big Whiskey. I thought they'd play better, Colin.
You thought they would play better?
I thought they would play better.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Bad
coach.
Stop. They're not terrible.
They rely too much on the foul and they rely too much on the three. And then when you lose by that, you can't look up to the gods expecting something else. They were the top free throw shooting team in the country and they didn't make their free throws. And they're one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the country, and they played a team who was a better 3-point shooting team at that point.
That's a promo. You can't play like that and then lose like that.
You can't live by the sword and die by the sword and then complain about the sword.
And then, Christian, look up to the gods.
Can't do it. You can't complain.
They lost by 2 points.
It was not 2 points close. It was 86-76 with 2 minutes to go, and then one of BYU was playing, Dawson Baker, who's playing a great game, got ejected for a terrible flagrant 2 to completely change the game.
John Tanji, man, that was a brilliant performance.
Fine. But Wisconsin lost and UConn lost. That's the bottom line. And both my teams lost. And I'm okay with it because I like good basketball, so I have no problem with it. But you need drama. That first weekend did not have a lot of drama.
Well, the drama, Clemson losing, and then...
Was it drama? They were out of they were losing the entire game. That's not drama.
But 56 points in the second half, it's still losing, I think, is a story in itself. And then how about
they scored 14 points in the first? I mean, 13,
I agree.
We're reaching for a story here. That's
Kyle, how about quickly on McNeese, the manager? I think he got an NIL deal of some sort, and then I think McNeese was. I think it was Wally Zerbiak or somebody on the CBS telecast that said, McNeese was a little too worried about their pregame music than showing up on the court. The entire time I watched that Purdue and McNeese game, I just said to myself, shame on Clemson. Shame on Clemson. The entire game. They scored 20 points. McNeese Kyle scored 20 points in the first half. They finally eclipsed in four halves of basketball. They eclipsed 38 points one time, and that was the 42 in the second half when it didn't mean anything because they were losing by 12 the entire game.
Yeah, bad. But there's not a lot of drama. There wasn't a lot of drama throughout the weekend. Yesterday saved that first weekend of the tournament. What happened yesterday? Pretty good. A great Maryland-Colorado State game and a great UConn game. That saved it. Ole Miss Iowa State was not interesting. Arizona-Oregon was at 12:30 at night, and it was an ugly game, but it was interesting enough.
It was fun.
Interesting enough. It was an ugly game. God, it makes you want to rip your hair out how pathetic some of these decisions are.
Caleb Love, 29-9, though, man. He was balling.
A review every 5 seconds. Oh, my God. I could do without it. Yesterday saved that. There's not a lot of drama. Which is fine. You're going to see that in the Final Four when the drama finally hits. But at the moment where we stand today, the biggest storyline being a Duke team being dominant, I don't know if that's a great thing. You got to hope that Florida can do something here. Or Houston can finally break through. That's your key. Because we're desperately, reaching for a story. We'll be at the TGL tomorrow at the SoFi Center in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Our last one will ever be at the TGL because the season is closing up here, and no better time to tune into some TGL action.
Folks, we got match 1 tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. It is the finals. The best of 3 final series is here. It's the New York Golf Club versus the Atlanta Drive. As we all know by now, 24 of the best players on the PGA Tour in action coming up the next 2 days. Once again, match 1 is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. And then as Kyle alluded to, match 2 and 3, Russo and Rizzo will be on site from 4 to 6 with our show. But match 2 to 3 tomorrow at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Tune in on Monday and Tuesday to catch all of the TGL action. Keep up, folks. It's golf.
Time of the year on the TGL side of things. You get the Sweet 16 this weekend, round of 32 fully completed. You get opening day later on this week. You got some Yankees Brewers action with Joe Buck on the call finally for ESPN. So we'll see a little bit of Joe Buck later on in the week. We'll loop in Christian Cat into the conversation. We got Jonathan Zaslow joining the program at around 5:20. So stick around for it. Should be a lot of fun. Second hour of Russo and Rizzo coming up to you on ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
This is ESPN 106.3, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
Eats, drinks, scenic views, all at Twin Peaks. Not quite ready for the craziness of March basketball? No worries, Twin Peaks has you covered. With games airing all month long, you can catch every shot during the legendary Twin Peaks Happy Hour. Whatever your vibe, Twin Peaks has it all, including their signature 29-degree draft beers. And for those true bourbon connoisseurs, dive into the exclusive Twin Peaks collection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Nobody does it like Twin Peaks. Come for the game, stay for the experience.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit one checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in, we begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Did you miss Theoretically Speaking? I think that it's necessary to give people the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until proven guilty. And once we have enough doubt, we say, I think you're going to jail, buddy. To me, the Cowboys are like a 3-time offender who just got caught yet again. Oh, what is that? Is that the consequences of my own actions? That's what Dallas feels like time after time, offseason after offseason, and that's why they get the burden of suspicion. It's Theoretically Speaking, weekdays at 2, here on ESPN 106.3.
Improve your golf game fast at the all-new Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center has the facilities, tools, and coaching you need. Enjoy the best facilities in the area with an expansive chipping and putting area, practice bunkers, a huge putting green, plus a 2,000 square foot indoor training area with 3 hitting bays, cutting-edge analysis technology, and more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center in the heart of Palm Beach County off I-95 and the Turnpike. Find out more at KaiserGolfCenter.com.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour of the program on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with you on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. If you missed any of the program today, you want to listen back, you can listen in podcast format on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places at Russo and Rizzo. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Go start your day off with a true victory. Go over to F45 downtown West Palm Beach, locations in Wellington as well. F45, more the functional side of working out. Your first 3 classes for just $30 because you could just show up, you sign up for a class, you get 2 coaches on site making sure you're doing everything right, and you get in, out, 45 minutes, you blink and it's over. A bunch of you and a like-minded fitness individuals, loud music, everybody having a good time, and all the exercises you need to do just right in front of you on the screen. That's how easy it is to get started at F45. It's more the functional side too, so you feel better about it. You get a high heart rate, you get to break a little sweat, but also you feel good, you don't feel tight, the whole thing. That's what F45 has to offer. Go find a studio near you, F45 online, or go check out their Instagram, F45 downtown West Palm Beach. Christian Cat, our producer behind the glass at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Hi, Christian. How are you? What's
going on, Cat? Going pretty good. I mean, like you guys, been pretty busy, so it was nice to just sit on the couch and do pretty much nothing yesterday but watch hoops.
Yeah, good weekend?
Yeah. My only thing to do yesterday, I went to a candy store.
You needed to go to the candy store. That was an errand?
Yeah, see, I drive past this candy store all the time. It's colorful. It's got a purple roof. It's got a nice sign outside. I said, one of these days, I'm going to stop in when I need something to do, and yesterday was one of those days. Broke up the day a little bit.
What time did you go?
Probably 3 o'clock. Got home in time to watch the end of the UConn-Florida game.
And then you, let's go to the candy store. And how long did you browse?
This was a 15-minute trip, maybe 20. It's about an 8-minute drive.
This was nothing. Yeah, this was nothing.
No, got some sour licorice. You know those Airhead Extremes?
It's one of those things where you get the bag and you got to fill it up with the little jars.
You could do that if you want to. I didn't realize I did that. It was $9 a pound, and I got a pound of sour lemonade licorice.
Is that expensive?
Not really. Kind of par for the course when it
$9
comes.
a pound?
Yeah. That's actually a pretty good deal.
Get it by the pound.
Can't you get a pound of meat for half that price?
Probably, but a lot less work goes into meat. You just kind of chop it off the cow versus a lot of industry to make that candy. I had this cluster that was chocolate-covered peanuts, pretzels, almonds, and potato chips.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not much of a candy guy, but if I had to choose a candy, Christian, Mike and Ike's. Absolutely love Mike and Ike's.
That's a great take.
Love
I feel
Mike
like
and
they
Ike's.
never get the shine they deserve, but they never disappoint.
Yeah.
They're always reliable and they're tasty.
If my mom knows I'm coming home and she knows I don't eat a lot of candy, I'll like she's usually working when I'm like get home, Kyle, during the week or whatever. There'll just be a box of Mike and Ike's with my name on it. She'd go to.
Did you like gravitate towards it initially before you knew you liked it because of the name Mike and Ike?
No, my mom is such a sweet tooth. She loves licorice and Mike and Ike's, and I'm not necessarily a licorice guy. I'll eat it, but I remember like when Mom got the Mike and Ike's and she cracked them out. I was always I need a handful.
Is that a movie theater choice too?
Oh yeah, easily. So movie theater, I told you I don't screw around. If I'm going to a movie, I'm spending like $60.
You don't smuggle it in,
no,
buy it there.
No, I'm getting the popcorn. I'm getting the cookie dough bites. I'm getting the Mike and Ike's. I'm getting the large Slurpee. I usually, someone's probably with me.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's way too much. Totally. But I don't go to the movies. Sadly, I used to go to the movies every week. We had the movie club when I was back at home in Cleveland. But I really, to be honest, boys, there haven't been a lot of good movies lately to go and see.
You're right.
So there really haven't.
I love going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
And I'll
What
find
am I
any
seeing?
excuse to do it. I haven't seen anything I
Because
want out.
You'll find any
Dune-
excuse to do it except a bad movie.
So Christian, Dune.
Yeah.
Dune. Dune. I told this to
Short list of excuses.
Now, Colin, you are theater. You are cinema.
I love
You
the
love
theater.
it. The last time I went to a movie theater was Dune, and I remember looking at my buddies. I said that was probably the best movie I went and saw since the Black Knight series and Infinity War Part 2.
Yeah, that was a year ago. That was when the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches was last year. So yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a long time, mate.
There's a horror movie coming out this weekend. It's like the women in black out the window, and some good trailers when watching March Madness over the weekend.
That's going to get you out of the woodworks. That movie?
A good horror movie. Yeah.
Scary movies.
Because a good horror movie is better to watch in theaters more so than a good rom-com.
That too, and if you have a significant other, I feel like it's, a go-to.
Yeah, I pulled teeth when it comes to my significant other. I've done a lot of work on her in the 8 years we've been together where she just can't do the horror, where I've kind of pushed and pushed and pushed to where she can do a little bit of it. But if it's a hard rated R where even the trailer sends shivers down your spine, she's probably not going to see it.
I'm surprised. So that movie of all movies is going to get you out.
Yeah, a good horror movie. If a horror movie looks good.
Did you see Long Legs last summer?
No.
You did not see that. You did not. That was a good horror movie.
Christian, I know you're not much of a Star Wars guy, but maybe the next time I'm in a theater is when Jon Favreau releases his collusion of Ahsoka, Mandalore, and all that.
Yeah,
that's probably the next time I'll be in a theater.
Makes sense because that's kind of a big sci-fi series that a bigger screen is better.
Now, Colin, unless Dune 3 is coming out sooner than I know, I really don't know the next time I'll be in a movie theater.
I think I'll go tonight.
Yeah.
What's out? What are you seeing?
I don't know.
The
I'll go find
Minecraft
something.
movie. And
That's late.
Snow
That comes
White.
out in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
That, I think, came out. That lost a ton of money.
Snow White?
Already?
Yes.
Well, did it come out last weekend or something?
It needs a big first weekend because it was like $200 million to make or to produce. So, I think it made I don't want to get into it, but it made far less than that. It's going to be a big hit for in the pockets of Disney or Friends.
Yeah,
Shockingly,
right.
When the biggest star of your movie is criticizing Disney as a whole in the press tour,
right?
Rachel Zegler was like, "Yeah, it's not good enough," and whatever. It doesn't bode well for you.
Wait, she said the movie wasn't
not the movie, but the actual story. She was complaining about Disney princesses as a whole, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll find. There's a couple things I'd like to go see, so I'm not worried about that. I like seeing smaller indie movies too. So,
what's the best movie you've seen in the last 3 months?
In theaters?
Yeah. I'm interested because
see Wicked.
I did not see Wicked in theaters. I've seen the Broadway show, and I remember it being very unmemorable. So I wasn't too wrapped up in making sure I went to go see it in theaters in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
I really liked the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown. I saw that in theaters. That was great. You know what I saw in theaters that I thought I told you guys to go see it, and I thought it was fantastic. Was September 5 about the Munich Olympics and the ABC sports team that had to broadcast it in front of 1 billion people worldwide, and they're just like a small market news thing, and it was all from that side. I thought that was great during the Black September hostage crisis in the 72 Olympics. That was a great movie. I saw that in theaters. Other than that, yeah, it's been I have an app, so I'm looking at the recent releases. Not a lot of great Not a lot of great. I saw Long Legs last summer, which was great. If you like a horror movie, that'd be a good one to go watch. But yeah, you know, I saw Dune 2. I thought Dune 2 was great. I thought Challengers was a tennis movie. I thought that was really good. But yeah, not a lot of superb. But I'll go see it. And if it's terrible, all right. I have the movie subscription, so I could see multiple movies a month. But you got to get your money's worth, right? So you got to go anyway.
True.
So that's the plan there.
Watch.
Go ahead.
I watched a really good anime on Netflix the other day. Freerun. Really good.
No, haven't watched.
Really good.
Okay.
I'll put it on the list. Let's do a load of 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas. No brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union. Proud supporter of FAU Athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union.
All right, little 5 and 5 action. Christian, take us away.
Number 1.
The first weekend is in the books of this year's men's basketball tournament. College, we'll get to the Sweet 16 in a little bit. What's the status on your bracket? Have you deleted the Tournament Challenge app yet, or are you still invested with some money possibly down the road?
Can I give you one, boys? I am busted! And I got St. John's to thank and Coach Calipari to thank.
You also had the 1 seeds losing.
I did, and nothing came to fruition. It looked like I was a genius on UConn, basically till the final 3 minutes. It looked like I was a genius on Creighton for a half. But even if those teams would have lost and, St. John's was still alive, I'd have my whole Final Four and my championship game. The problem is the Johnnies losing. And I told you guys I'm not that bitter. I wasn't going to be that guy this year. But especially since it was Coach Calipari, too, who I love dearly, one of my favorite coaches of all time. I could get over it. I could get behind Cal in that region. It's absolutely busted. I still cannot believe St. John's played that. I played that game. I still can't believe they lost.
Yeah, 5 of my 8 Elite Eights are still alive, which is not good. You don't want that. And then my champion's still alive. I still have 3 of the 4 Final Fours. It's not enough to get you through to the promised land. So I'm in trouble there as well. I need Iowa State yesterday. They had a terrible second half. Terrible, really, game against Ole Miss as well. So I had Iowa State. That would have helped a little bit. But yeah, I'm in major trouble. That's the bottom line. Number 2.
Number 2.
Now it's time for the Sweet 16 starting on Thursday. No Cinderellas. The highest seed is a 10 seed, and it's Cal with Arkansas. Are you sad not to see at least one Cinderella go into the second weekend?
Sad's not the right word. Would I have liked to see it? Why not? Yeah, it's fun to see it once a year, but I agree. Like, if it's completion, if it's run its course by the end of the second weekend, I'm okay with it. Am I going to cry because I don't see a Colorado State in there, because I see whoever, Drake, in there? I'm not gonna ride home about it. It's not that big of a deal to me. I just want to see good games, and the games were not overly great over the weekend. So you'd hope that if the games are not great, a little one-sided on the first and second round, you'd hope that maybe the talent discrepancy starts to shrink a little bit towards the second weekend. That's my plan. That's what I'm banking on. That's what I'm hoping for.
Couldn't care less. Cinderella's out here now. This is what I like. I like the best teams being in the second weekend. To Colin's point, I'm assuming we're going to see some great games. I don't necessarily care about Cinderella not being here. Call me insensitive. I don't care. I really don't care. We're going to get great matchups. BYU, Alabama. I'm intrigued. Maryland and Florida. Can't wait. I think Arizona and Duke is going to be a little closer maybe than what people think, and I think John Calipari is absolute television. So, and then obviously the great Friday games. We're not going to rattle through all of them. I couldn't care less that Cinderella's not here, and these are the kind of tournaments that I like. The best of the best going at it.
I feel like for the mainstream audience, though, apart from the one Chris Jenkins Villanova 3-point for the win for a national championship dream scenario, and it happened. The most memorable moments of March Madness for the past 20 years are when Cinderellas rock the boat.
By the way, that guy who called in and said the FAU was the largest final, that he was wrong. The numbers were bad on that call. I went back and looked. The numbers were historically bad on that year where UConn, that first year where UConn ran roughshed. And
so we had a caller over last week who said that the numbers, the viewership was great.
They were bad. The numbers were awful. People don't want to see a Cinderella in the Final Four. I'm sorry, guys. It's fun for the first couple of rounds, but I don't know. Call me a hater. I like seeing the best of the best. I'm completely fine with Cinderella.
Nothing to talk about this week. There's no St. Peter's, and we learned that this is a campus that is right in the middle of New Jersey that no one's ever heard of.
Thank God. You got Cooper Flagg, the best player in the country, and Duke,
who went unchallenged, and the games might as well have been simulated.
Like it.
That FAU San Diego State game did about $11 million. UConn Miami did about $13 million.
Not good.
UConn Miami was actually lower than par for the course. And San Diego State, that is not a great rating. It's not awful, but it's not by no means anything to write home about.
I didn't ask for them to be in the Final Four. I think we compromised, and you said Sweet 16 was okay.
Yeah,
you said that as well.
I'm okay with it.
Now that
I'm
we're
not
here,
complain about it. I would have liked it.
Christian, now that we're here, thank God they're not here. Give me the great games. Give me them. Give me them all.
You're allowed to have a great game with a Cinderella.
Right. It would have been better if Colorado State beat Maryland
They
because
didn't
we had
deserve
that
it.
shot.
Win. Damn it, win then.
Well, that's not like I'm not complaining that they didn't win. I'm complaining that it's less entertaining because they didn't win.
I understand. People want to see the top seeds go down. They watch this tournament to see absolute madness. And to Colin's point, you didn't really get madness in the first couple of rounds. I still think you had a great day yesterday. Maryland with the buzzer beater, the close game between UConn and Florida. I don't know. This tournament has had what I've been looking for. Maybe not the casual, the Johnny-come-latelys.
Number 3.
Wade, DeVries, now Miller and McCollum, all big-ish name college coaches leaving their school. Sean Miller leaves Xavier for Texas. Ben McCollum leaves Drake, who won a first-round game for Iowa just a few days later. They got bounced out of the tournament. Did Miller and McCollum do this the right way, waiting to be eliminated first and then announcing his move to the bigger school? Or did what Will Wade do? Is that a better move?
If I look at this, I would rather do the former. Wait till after the tournament. Even Ben McCollum was asked about it the second after Drake lost and said, hey, like, you planning on coming back next year? And he kind of just laughed it off because we're not talking about that right now. I would have rathered that. There's a time and a place. Instead of trying to make a whole media circle, media frenzy, a la Will Wade, about where you're going to coach next year before you even play, it just makes you look bad. Even if the players are cool with it. There's a precedent set. I know you're having conversations behind closed doors. That stuff happens. Should it happen? I don't agree with it, but just keep it and finish your season before you worry about next season. That's the bottom line.
Will Wade's lucky he beat Clemson, by the way. Or let me rephrase. Will Wade is lucky Clemson beat themselves. The right way to do it is how Miller and McCollum did it. I still don't understand how they won that game. Oh, wait, I understand how they won that game because Clemson scored 13 points.
Yeah, Number 4. It's unfortunate about McCollum, too, after only 1 year. Go ahead.
Number 4.
Out of the 16 teams in the aptly named Sweet 16, 7 of them are from the SEC. Is there vindication from the committee because of this? Is the SEC just obviously head and shoulders better than everybody else?
You got 7 teams in there. They had to win some games in order to get there. I can't complain about it. The SEC is great. They were great against the Big 12. They're great against the ACC. What do you want them to do? It's a great conference this year.
I'll take my crow. I'll take my crow medium, Colin, and I'll put my a bib on as well.
Biggest
that said
SEC
I was wrong.
hater. Yeah,
I was wrong. They have 7 teams here. They were the best conference. I was wrong. I will eat my crow with my bib on, saying I was wrong.
And the teams that lost were the lower seeds. Moving on, number 5.
I still stand by.
5.
I still stand by that Creighton pick.
Number 5.
Number 5.
I still stand by that Creighton pick.
They already played the game.
They had it. They had it.
Go ahead, Christian.
Today is National Cheesesteak Day. Cheesesteak, Colin, Mike, overrated, properly rated, underrated.
Excellent. Love a cheesesteak. Very, I guess you call it a sandwich. Excellent. I'm a big fan of the cheesesteak. Philly or not Philly, totally in.
I think I'm kind of with you. Like, it's kind of like that age-old saying where pizza is just good because bad pizza is still good.
It's better than a lot of cold subs.
I agree. And boys, I think outside of an Italian sub, I probably would take it over any sub.
You ever had the frozen cheesesteaks at home, the Steakums?
Yeah, unreal.
Those are still
Grew
good.
up on them.
It's the
never had
cheapest
those.
version of it, and it's probably
Christian.
should be the worst. It's still good.
I love that you brought that up. We grew up on those things,
Yeah.
man. My mother, it was very quick. She'd come home from work, whip a couple of those things up, and that was it.
Same here.
We'd be happy as a clam.
Provolone, mayo, grilled onions, Steakums, bam, you've got dinner.
And the reason I put that on there is because I feel like if you went around the world and asked what is the most pulverizing around the country, around the USA, and asked what is the most pulverizing sub sandwich, I think cheesesteak would be probably number one.
I don't think I agree with that.
I have
No way.
delayed fighting this battle that you're not talking. Are you saying polarizing?
The three of us just wholeheartedly agreed that we love cheesesteak, but it's polarizing?
Polarizing or pulverizing?
Pulverizing.
Polarizing.
Okay, define pulverizing for me.
Pulverizing
When I
is
hit
like
somebody.
That's Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Like when I hit somebody. But like that's the point I'm trying to make is like it's hitting you. It's in your face.
So it's not-
I thought you said polarizing.
Yes.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Polarizing means that people are either hot or they're cold on it.
Okay, so that's what made me to think that.
Okay. All right, but no, I think if you went around the country, people would say cheesesteak probably the best sub sandwich. I am an Italian guy. I like an Italian sub sandwich the best, but I think the reason I put that on there is National Cheesesteak Day. I think that's probably the favorite.
I thought you were talking about polarizing.
Me too. You love it or you hate it.
You love it or you hate it. I disagreed with that. I think it's a pretty widely loved.
Yeah.
But like, do you agree with me that they would probably be the number one sub sandwich in the country?
I disagree with you.
Cheesesteak. What would be higher than a cheesesteak?
Probably just maybe an Italian combo.
Yeah, a Reuben.
Reuben might be up
Probably
there.
definitely
BLT.
not.
I think a grilled cheese has a higher Q rating than cheesesteak.
People think I'm nuts for eating like Reubens and corned beef. Like, I think that's out there that like people are kind of weirded out by corned beef. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Have you ever, Christian? You went to
corned
Penn
beef.
State. I'm sure you've had a number of actual Philadelphia Philly cheesesteaks. Am I right?
I've only had one, actually.
Oh.
I've only been in Philly once when I met my friend there just a couple months ago.
And
I enjoyed it. It was great.
But the Philadelphia Eagle fan ruined your experience.
Which one did you go to? Do you remember? Pat's?
No, I went to one that was actually in Westchester County. So it wasn't one of the famous ones in Philadelphia, but it was in around the area. But it's still great.
Understood. We got to talk to Jonathan Zaslow of the Zaslow Show 2.0. Coming up a little bit next, that was our 5 at 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union. Christian Cat, Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo taking a timeout. Jonathan Zaslow coming up on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar & Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar & Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan man!
Spring training is back with our New York Mets. Catch the Mets at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie as they gear up for another postseason run. This time with Juan Soto. Soto and the squad are certainly ready to make some noise this season. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. The Mets are hosting the Rays, Red Sox, Yankees, and more. It's a lineup you don't want to miss. Head to Mets.com to lock in your seats today because remember, baseball hits different here.
The Palm Beach Health Network Physician Group, an affiliate of the Palm Beach Health Network, is committed to delivering high-quality care to the communities they serve. Their award-winning physicians and specialists provide a level of expertise that has resulted in regional firsts and outstanding patient outcomes. For a physician referral, call 866-654-2362. To learn more about the Palm Beach Health Network Physician Group, visit pbhnphysiciangroup.com. pbhnphysiciangroup.com to get in touch with the Palm Beach Health Network Physician Group. Group.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today. Don't miss out on this incredible course. And please, putt responsibly.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach, a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with you, now welcoming in a good friend of the program. You can hear him on the Zazzo Show 2.0. You can hear him on ESPN Radio. You can hear him on Lebetard. Mr. Jonathan Zazzo joining us now. How are you doing, Mr. Zazzo? What's going on?
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, you
these
are.
days.
Mr. Worldwide right now. What's going on?
Yeah,
Busy man.
Lebetard the last few days. I'm back there tomorrow morning as well. If anyone wants to check that out, I'm good. You guys all right? Did you find a way to enjoy the lack of madness this weekend?
So, what's your takeaway on that? Are you pro no madness or anti no madness?
Totally fine with it. Totally fine with the lack of madness because here's the thing. You know, when I go into the tournament, the madness is good, but I'm not trying to get to, 5 or 6 Cinderellas into the Sweet 16. Like, I'm not trying to get an 8 versus a 12 next weekend. In the Sweet 16, I want the great matchups, all right? The first weekend is great. If you get some madness, you get some buzzer beaters, that's fine. But the second week, I want the big boys going head-to-head. And that's what we got coming up this weekend. So, I'm good with it.
Yeah, Zaz agrees with me. We're all good. We're all good on the bippity boppity boo pumpkin Cinderella. We're all good on it.
I'm good. It's okay. It's okay that would have been nice if McNeese State won an extra game. Okay, that'd have been fun to keep track of going into next weekend at number 12. Certainly, you could say Arkansas, they're at 10. John Calipari cannot be the face of a Cinderella, so they're not a Cinderella.
I completely agree.
Okay, come
not
on.
with Walmart money.
They could be a 20 seed. I don't care. Calipari's not a Cinderella. So we get the great matchups next weekend. So I'm totally good with it.
Interesting. And your perspective on it, the fact that there aren't any Cinderellas, is this reflective of a problem in the system, or is this just a sense of some years are chalky, some years are not? How do you view that with the NIL?
I think that's what it is. I know a lot of people are saying, this is what it's going to look like from now on because of NIL and the porn. Like, I don't know. Can we give it a little bit more than a 1 year sample size?
Correct.
Can you ask me again in 5 years from now what the result has been because of the way that college sports is now? So I think it's more about just, hey, this is a year where it's a little bit chalky. And I think we kind of expected that. I feel like this was the year where when you're filling out your bracket, it's always lame to come out of the brackets. I got 3 of the number 1s making the Final Four. But I feel like this was kind of the year that if you're going to do that, it makes sense.
Zaz, is there a best team out? Like, with me, I think it's Duke. Kyle's still on Florida. Is that best team? Who's your best team right now in the field?
Well, I'm on Florida, obviously. I went to school there, so, I'm going to phony it up and tell you that I care very, very much about what the Gators are doing right now. But I understand. I understand if you're going with Duke. Like, I'm watching Duke yesterday, and it's just so obvious. Cooper Flagg is so far and away the best player on the floor. Like, he has no business. It's why when you have kids and they play travel ball, he's the kid who's playing 2 years up because you're not getting better playing with the kids your age. And I understand there are players who are 3 and 4 years older than him that he's playing against here at Duke, but my God, he's so easily the best player on the floor.
Yeah, high motor, an elite athlete, a good shooter. Great slasher. Yeah, he's great. And he's surrounded by a great team, too.
And from everything I hear, he's just a killer. Just a big-time competitor and just
a high motor. Yeah.
Just wants to kill you out there.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, not in a similar play style, but it reminds me of Zion a little bit. You watched Zion in college. That was the most, not as athletic, of course, but in terms of motor.
Zion was a freak. You know, it's like, wow, this guy.
But he's still the motor. He just worked harder than everybody else. He was so aggressive.
And don't forget Cooper Flagg. He's a year young. He's supposed to be in high school still right now.
Yep.
He graduated early. So how about that? It shows you how good he really is.
Absolutely. You mentioned Florida. You're a Florida guy. I'm sure you watched Florida-UConn yesterday in the early slate of the round of 32. I'm a UConn guy as well. A great game. It won, if not the second best game of the entire tournament thus far. UConn gave them a hell of a punch, and some Florida heroics ended up saving them towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway in terms of how Florida handled that versus how UConn handled that?
You know, I think that every national champion, now granted this wasn't the case for UConn the last couple of years, they steamrolled through the tournament. They won all 12 of their games by double figures. I think that's the anomaly. I think normally the way it goes in this tournament, if you're going to win the national championship, you usually get some kind of scare.
You got to have a test.
Right.
Yep. And it'll happen a lot early in the tournaments. You get a scare, you got to survive. So I'm glad that Florida was able to survive that scare. The UConn side of things, boy, I mean, I am so down on Dan Hurley. The behavior. I mean, come on. And I get it that, hey, you know, great coaches, they're maniacal. Yes, that is true. But they're not all jerks. You know, nobody's ever said Tom Izzo's a jerk. No one's saying Krzyzewski's a jerk. They're not saying Calipari's a jerk. You could be a maniac without being a jerk. And I thought yesterday he looked terrible.
But isn't this par for the course for him, Zaz? And if I can press you a little bit, specifically what made him a jerk?
Comments coming off the floor with, telling the Baylor team, I hope you don't get effed by the referees like we got effed. And then when he gets in front of a microphone, it's Florida. Quality opponent. They played with honor out there. Well, you know, the camera's on you. When it's not on you, you lost because of the referees, not because of Florida. Come on. That's rough.
Now, the one thing I'll say is I'm a Dan Hurley guy. I love Hurley. I sell what I buy what he's selling all the time. This is what he does. He does this when he wins, and he does this when he loses. He loses his mind every 5 seconds because he's a psychopath. He, in the best ways possible, he is a psychopath. His father is a psychopath, and his brother's a psychopath.
Yeah.
It's a psychopathic family, and that is what they do in terms of how good they are. At bat, they live and breathe it. I agree. Was he wrong? Yeah, the referees had nothing to do with that game. I actually thought
you lost to the 1 seed. They're the 1 seed.
I actually thought it was a pretty well officiated game comparatively to what else I saw over the weekend. I actually thought it was a pretty well officiated game. But the way I look at it is that is just what Hurley does. And I think that it works for the UConn fan. It works for the UConn player. They don't have an exodus of players every single year that can't deal with his garbage. I can't knock him for it because this is what he does when he wins. You can't complain about it when you can't stay quiet when he wins and then complain about it when he loses because at least he's doing it either or.
No one's saying he's overrated. You know, no one's saying he's not a great coach.
There's no doubt about that.
Nobody's saying that. You know, but the way that he lost, you know, you're the national champion 2 years in a row. I don't know. Have a little bit of grace. You know, when you finally got bounced in the tournament.
Could have looked better. I agree. He could have looked better. Sometimes it takes a lot of it. Dan, once in a while, can we just walk off the floor? That was a well-played basketball game on both sides, and some heroics allowed Florida to win that game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the way I look at it, weirdly enough, when I was in high school, this is a weird story, but this gives you a sense of the Hurley family. When I was in early parts of high school, or late parts of middle school, my brother was in high school. St. Anthony's, who Bob Hurley, Dan Hurley's father, coached for years, one of the great high school coaches of all time, and that St. Anthony's team was always top 5 in the country. They came to New Canaan High School, which is where I went to high school, a public school, never great at basketball, but we had connections with the Hurleys, so they came over to play an exhibition game. During an exhibition game, Hurley Sr. told the referee, there's a quiet gym, told the referee, I need a timeout. I need to choke this kid out. And he brought the kid onto the bench, and he starts reaming him at New Canaan High School for an exhibition game, in a game they were up by 40.
Maniacs.
They're all psychos, but that's why it's great. That's why I buy what they're selling. I love that. I
hear you. Not my style. You know, I'd rather.
There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt he's a great coach. There's no doubt about that.
Nobody's saying here he's overrated. You know, I'm just saying, I've had enough of you for now. I'm going to go focus on the other team still in the tournament.
That guy's first time the guy's lost in 3 years in that tournament. Come on. I thought it'd be worse. I thought it was going to be worse, to be honest with you. No?
Yeah.
And then you got the timeout, too, by the way, late in the game where he's telling the kids how to flop, you know, with that set play. My God.
Now,
you didn't fool anybody there.
The one thing I'll say is, did you see how the UConn SID, which is the sports information director, went to the reporter who got that video that you're alluding to with Hurley walking out the tunnel telling Baylor.
Terrible look for the communications director.
That guy went to the reporter and said, I will ruin your life. Now that's getting publicized all over the place that he was trying to cover tracks
Terrible.
or whatever it is. Now, that to me, I think is a worse look than what Hurley did. I think that is a worse look.
You're gonna ruin the and apparently it's a young journalist too. You're threatening to ruin his life. It's not like the reporter gave an opinion. He took video of something that actually happened.
Right.
And you're gonna ruin his life.
Zaz, I called it the Yukon Mafia, man. Look out. Yukon Mafia.
Yeah, rough 24 hours for the basketball program.
Yeah, I mean, and the weird part is they played such a good game.
They did.
Nothing to hang their hat on.
Game.
Well, and you know what would have been interesting, and I was thinking, because I was starting to get worried that the Gators were going to lose the game. It's like you're waiting for the run. When's it coming? And if UConn would have won that game, how would we be talking about UConn today? Two-time defending national champion going into the Sweet 16. We would be talking about them as
national champion contender.
In the vein of some of the best college run of all time. One of them,
right?
At least that's what we'd be talking.
That would have been some story.
It was Zaz. Colin and I pinpointed the moment. 3:05. Caravan misses the layup, and then I believe the Porter kid hits the three. The game was over right then and there.
Yeah, like you were waiting for the run all game,
Clayton
and it
Jr.
finally came with just a few minutes left.
Right.
Jonathan Zazzo joining the program now on Russo and Rizzo. Zaz, in terms of the tournament now, is this going to be a chalky rest of the way?
I think so.
Or you think that, is there any surprise with the Ole Misses of the world, the Marylands of the world, that you could see somebody making a run to the third weekend?
Maybe BYU's got something to say against Alabama next weekend.
I think that would be a good game. I think that's the first of which of the Sweet 16. That's the first Thursday game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Duke and Auburn, no problem. I think Michigan is so ripe to say goodbye in this tournament. Nice run, first year under Dusty May. And look, Maryland, the Gators almost got a gift yesterday. You already have no St. John's, and then you almost had 12-seed Colorado State, if not for Maryland at the buzzer. So that could be a good game, Florida and Maryland. Kentucky, Tennessee will probably be great as well. And look, I'm rooting for Arkansas. I think it's a great story if we can keep watching Cal. If we can get Arkansas, Florida
you need a big coach.
in the regional final, that'd be a lot of fun.
Now, you mentioned St. John's. I didn't get your thoughts on this. St. John's lost to Arkansas on Saturday. I don't know if you watched the game.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, Pitino had R.J. Lewis, the Big East Player of the Year, St. John's best player, most reliable offensive player, on the bench. Lost 4.5 minutes of the game. If you watch the game, there's a different context to it, but he's 3 at 17. Pitino was asked post-game, hey, why'd you not have him in? He's like, I'm not giving you the soundbite. You know damn well why he was not in the game. What's your takeaway on how Pitino handled that, having your guy? Doesn't matter how well he's playing, but that's your guy on the bench to close the game.
Well, first of all, I thought Pitino was unfair with the reporter. Pitino made it sound like the reporter was playing detective and trying to uncover a story.
Trying to set him up. Yeah,
like, Pitino, it unfolded in front of our eyes, and it was your doing, all right? You're the one who benched him, all right? So, of course, we have to ask you about it. So I thought that was a little bit unfair, the way Pitino had the back and forth with the reporter. As far as benching him, from what I understand, this is something Pitino has done many times in the past. And I really got to side with the coach on this one. It's not like, if Steph Curry is 2 for 17, you built up some equity there. You want him to shoot the 18th and the 19th and the 20th time.
These are emotional college players.
Right. And if Pitino knows his player and is sensing, all right, I gave him 30 minutes to snap out of this, he doesn't have it. Like, maybe the lights are a little bit too bright for him. So I side with the coach in that spot.
Yeah, he's been getting pounded. I can't see that.
Yeah. No, and Zaz, let's flip on over to the other side with Calipari. How impressive is the run to the Sweet 16 you mentioned? And I agree with you. I'm a fair-weather Kentucky basketball fan. I love Calipari to death. Any team he's on, he'll never be a Cinderella. But as a 10 seed, pretty impressive what they've been able to do to beat Kansas and then now to beat the Johnnies.
He has had a grand slam of a year. And a whole year. A grand slam.
He won at Kentucky. That was that. He needed that.
Go back to the way this season started for them. I think they were 0-5 in the SEC.
Yep.
They were looking like a disaster. And you got the game going into Lexington where Rick Pitino even has to put out a video on Twitter pleading with the fans in Lexington, treat Coach Cal with some respect. It's tough time. He's coming back. He did very well for you. Don't boo him too much. You get there. It's the reaction you expect. They didn't just beat Kentucky. They murdered them that game.
Yep.
All right.
That game mattered more to them, to Calipari, you could tell, and to the team comparatively to Kentucky. But I agree. It was a great win.
They kicked their butt. And then you get to the tournament. He beats Bill Self and beats Pitino. And St. John's being a number 2, and now they're in the Sweet 16. This is an all-time great year for Cal. A grand slam of a season.
Yeah, and Zaz, even to play devil's advocate on the Kentucky side, too, they're in the Sweet 16, too. It's a win-win, right? The Kentucky finally gets over the hump.
I don't think Kentucky's saying, I wish we still had Cal.
No,
perfectly happy.
God, no. And I think they look at Cal with a smile on their face. At least I do. First off, booing Calipari was absolute Bush League. I do not back that. I mean, 5 Final Fours in a national championship, that's Bush League. But I'm with you. I am really impressed with what Cal has been able to do, especially how bad the SEC play started with 0-5.
Yeah, I think Kentucky's obviously in a great spot. And as far as the boo and Cal part, I forget who said it, but I don't think we've ever heard Kentucky fans cheer for the opposing coach.
Yeah,
so
you might be onto something.
I've been
to that arena. I've been to that arena multiple times. It's probably par for the course.
You can't overthink that. I completely agree. What fan is going to
I don't know.
show grace there?
Yeah, they're not going to.
Not going to. Zaz, if people want to tune into more Jonathan Zazzo, where do they go?
Yeah, well, I'm on Lebitard's show again tomorrow. You can catch that on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. But most importantly, wherever you get your podcast, Zaslow Show 2.0, everything happening in the 305. We got you covered. And that includes tomorrow, Jimmy Butler returning to Miami to take on the Heat. So wherever you are, wherever you get your podcast, Zaslow Show 2.0, you download that, subscribe, you like, you rate. I love you long time. And every episode is brought to you by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. You're involved in any kind of an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, you call Anajar and Levine. Hit and run, motorcycle, slip and fall, boating, whatever it is, they are going to get you the compensation you deserve. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733.
Zaz, you a movie theater guy?
Absolutely.
Do you go for? When's the last time you went to a theater?
I went with my son. We saw the new Captain America movie.
Okay, so you went recently. Okay,
yeah.
Mike hasn't went in about a year.
Dune, Zaz, and I'm a huge superhero guy. Marvel, I think they've been in a rut. Everything they're touched turns to you know what right now. I'm at a loss for my superhero stuff right now. I was telling Colin the next time I'll probably go to the theater is the Star Wars movie that Filoni makes to bring together Ahsoka and the Mandalorian, and the entire time I'm going to be watching through my hands, hoping that it's not a train wreck.
You're not going to be into Thunderbolts? That's Marvel.
I'm
that's
not.
coming out next month. That
Marvel,
looks like a lot of fun.
it says I'm out on Marvel until further notice.
And Christian,
I'm out on Marvel
for the next great horror movie to get back into the theater.
We see superhero movies in the theater and we see horror movies.
I'm intrigued. I am intrigued, Zaz, by DC. Now, you and Colin turned me on to this a few weeks back. The Christian Cedric Diggory, what was his name? Who played Batman? Robert Pattinson. He's not going to be the Batman, and they're making a whole new verse
well, he's
of
the Batman
DC.
in his
but like
Batman story.
Zaz, the Penguin and that Batman were kind of a success. DC finally has a chance to take the reins from Marvel, what seems like for the first time in 12 years.
They're doing
their
own thing.
It's very bold to go away from something that has worked recently and to start a whole new thing. Now, what's that producer's name? Gunn, Zaz? Help me out.
James Gunn. He did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
He's great.
He runs the DC universe now.
He's great. But my God, I hope he's making the right decision here.
Well, you're going to go see Superman. That's coming out, I think, at the end of the summer.
I'll see that. I'll see that because that's the new DC verse.
Yep.
I was hoping
so
though.
If something's great, it doesn't drag you out of the woodworks. If no superhero movie, if it's a great movie, does it drag you to the theater?
If not anymore.
Listen,
the only time I go to the theaters, I go for superhero movies and I go for horror movies. The other stuff I could watch on my couch in the Zaslow Mansion family room.
Did you see Oppenheimer in theaters?
I actually did. Yeah, and you know what? We took the whole family. We took the boys with us.
You took the boys to go see the
historical kind of deal.
atomic bomb movie. Yes,
that's right. The younger one, the sex scene, a little bit dicey.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
You want to know what I need? I need a Rizzo family mansion. I hear way too much of this great compound. I need a Rizzo family mansion.
You need a Rizzo family, and then you get a
Rizzo
Rizzo family.
There you go.
Right.
Steps to this.
Get the mansion and then get the family.
Steps to this. But Zaz, honest to God, I'm the biggest nerd you'll meet. I drive these kids nuts with the anime and the Naruto and stuff like that, but I've been very disappointed with Marvel lately. Very disappointed.
I'm going to tell you right now, Mike, and nobody cares but you and me. Well, not even me, but nobody cares but you right now. I swear to God, this past Friday night, took my younger son. He loves it. We saw Naruto Symphonic Experience.
Oh, my God, and at the Kravis Center.
We went.
I saw the ads, dude. Amazing, probably.
We were there a few nights ago.
You didn't go?
Kravis Center, we had top 63.
Was it not over it didn't play every day?
It was. I think they did 2 shows. We went on Friday night.
Wow,
Yeah,
some fan.
Zaz,
Gotta get a new anime guy.
not to nerd out too much. Like
big fans of that would make the time.
Like Zaz, Naruto, I used to watch that and wait for the episodes Cartoon
Well, not
Network
anymore.
10 o'clock.
My son loves
Not
it.
anymore.
Oh my God, dude.
It was a
God
packed
bless him.
house there, Mike.
Yes.
Fell in love with it. It happens.
Colin, you're looking for like new interns. Like we need an anime guy now because we lost ours.
There's plenty of them.
Stop it.
There's
No, you
plenty
don't.
Of them.
No, you
Plenty
don't.
of them.
I can tell you anything you want to know.
Zaz, we appreciate you giving us the time as always. Looking forward to talking again next week.
My
Great
man
job,
Zaz.
guys. See ya.
That's Jonathan Zazzo, the Zazzo Show 2.0. We close out the program a little bit. Next, stick around for it. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The new state-of-the-art showroom at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach is now open. And let me tell you, it's amazing. If you're looking for a brand new 2020 to 2025 Kia, there is something for you. Every car has so many awesome features, it will be hard to pick just one. Plus, the safety tech and that unbeatable 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's peace of mind in every mile. If you've been putting off car shopping, now's the time. Don't wait any longer. Get down to Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, trade keys, and drive home a new Kia today. So, which one will you choose? See my friend Lonnie Mister at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach and find out why there are more Kias on the road every day. Call 800 New Kias or Lonnie at 561-433-1511 and check us out online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach, where your new Kia is waiting for you.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See kia.com or retailer for details.
Welcome to Recycle Right Trivia, sponsored by the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County. Question 1. What belongs in the yellow recycling bin?
Newspapers, cereal boxes, magazines?
Correct! Now, blue bin. What goes in there?
Plastic bottles, aluminum cans, glass jars?
You nailed it! Remember, Palm Beach County, recycle right and stay in the game for our planet.
Is your air or water flowing perfectly in your home? If the answer is no, EDS is yes. Theo here, and for me, EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing is my go-to, and it should be yours too. EDS is Palm Beach County's trusted AC and plumbing expert. They'll make sure your air and water flow perfectly. EDS is a train comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. Go to EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com. When comfort matters, EDS is yes.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash. Enjoy unlimited inside and out hand washes for just $49.95 per month. And during January and February, if you join our club, you'll only pay $25 a month for the first 2 months and then $49.95 thereafter. For more info, call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Duffy Sports Grill isn't done celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Celebrate the taste of Ireland now through April 7th. Indulge in Duffy's favorites like thinly sliced certified Angus corned beef and the Reuben Burger on a half-pound certified Angus patty. And raise a glass with Irish favorites like the Jameson Green Tea Shot, Creamsicle Martini, and Jameson Black Barrel Old Fashioned. Taste of Ireland now through April 7th at your nearest Duffy's. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
With MLB opening day this week on the horizon, you got the Sweet 16 coming up again this weekend. A quick turnaround before the next weekend of college hoops action. There's no better time, really, to get started than download the Hard Rock Bet app today. If you go to the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, go to hardrock.bet online. You can get started today because Hard Rock is perfect if you're looking to really kind of get acclimated into a sports book for the first time, because you can just check out the Discover page. The Discover page has the most popular bets. What is the best value bets? What are the tackiest bets? The longest leg parlays, put as little as $1. Increase your value as it goes along. People are doing it all weekend. And you're going to be watching these games anyway. You might as well sprinkle a little action on it. Have a little fun with it on Hard Rock Bet. Acclimated to both sides of players, the sophisticated guy gets his fix, and the newer player also has more fun with Hard Rock Bet as well. If you try it now, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. That first bet can be a parlay, can be a prop, can be an over, whatever you like to bet in a game you choose. Win that first one and get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager, terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Christian Cat, are you anti how Dan Hurley conducted himself yesterday?
Oh, yeah. I'm a front runner with Danley Hurley. I like it when he's winning, and if he's losing and he still acts like a jackass, I'm going to call him out for it. Oh, you can't talk like that. You lost.
I forgot we're allowed to say that on radio, by the way.
So you're
It's an animal.
So he's only allowed to act that way when they win.
Yes.
Is there a sense of authenticity in your head that he's doing it win or lose?
No.
It's par for the course.
Not being able to control himself when he loses. Be grace in victory and defeat.
Hold on, he was with the media. Somebody just had a camera on in the tunnel.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
He talked about how Florida played with honor.
Mm-hmm. And like bowed to them.
Christian,
like a
you're the
sensei.
same guy at home that you are on this radio station, right?
Yeah, I actually am.
The way I look at it is like he's one of the best coaches in the sport. You gotta deal with the bad stuff to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, but like I cannot deal with in all sports complaining about officiating. I simply don't have room for it in my purview. I think you are an adult. You sound like a 13-year-old kid on T-ball.
Hang on. Yeah.
How many times have us three complained about officiating?
The Bills game.
I
The Bills
noticeably,
game.
I don't.
But Christian,
I simply
you
do not have room
think you're
for it.
high and mighty because
Yes.
you don't contribute.
You didn't have a
you don't contribute to that.
Now, fair play to you, Christian, because my journalism teacher, Justice Hill, always said complaining about officiating is a bad look for a journalist and a media member. I agree with that. But at the same time, when it's so blatantly obvious, like the AFC divisional round, or sorry, what was it? The AFC championship. Kyle, help me out. I forget. Bills and
It was a championship.
Okay. It was awful. The calls were awful.
I mean, they were questionable.
You got to talk about it. It's whatever. It's what you got to talk about that day is how terrible the officiating was.
Yeah, but also, okay, that's in the general grand scheme of things for sure. But you guys talked about how, like, I never even considered the officiating being a factor.
Oh, yeah, in
UConn,
this case,
Florida.
for sure. In this case, for sure.
Agree.
This is.
Agree there.
I think this is raw.
But now you're sitting there from your throne saying that I don't talk about referees?
I don't.
What about when the Chiefs, Mahomes got all those roughing the passer calls?
I think it's not a pro-Chiefs thing. I think it's probably an anti-football going in the wrong direction type thing.
All right, so he's a Raven fan. And I remember my time in Peoria, people had a big problem, Christian, when the Ravens didn't get the pass interference in the back of the end zone in the AFC Championship game. Did you have a problem with that?
Are you talking about like the
2
triple
years
coverage
ago.
throw from Lamar Jackson?
Correct, and I couldn't fathom it.
No, that was the worst throw I've seen in the playoffs of all time.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy you agree with it, but I had a ton of Raven fans, believe it or not, we had some in Illinois, at the time complaining how they thought that was pass interference. I couldn't take that serious.
Well, when the Rams get screwed with that pass interference call, or the Saints get screwed against the Rams, what'd you say then?
Of course, there are some examples of an exemption
You
from
said it
my
was a
general
great
rule.
call? You said it was a great
No,
call?
I did not respect the shield.
Decline to comment? Do you plead the fifth?
That was an exception of a obvious bad call that prevented one team from going to the Super Bowl.
You want to know what he wanted to hear? This way, it's open for interpretation. That's what he meant to say. That's what he meant to say.
What are you, like the Gene Steratore of the bunch? He's like, I don't not see it, but I don't see it. Like,
No, Christian's
playing in the
actually
middle.
going to try to be a referee. He's actually going to go out and try to be a
That
referee.
was my first job. The first job that I wanted when I was a kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? I said I
thought
want
it
to
was
be an
camp
umpire.
counselor and you hated the kids.
When they asked me what did I want to be when I grow up,
An umpire,
I
he doesn't
said an
necessarily-
umpire.
remember
it
that,
doesn't
by
need
the
to be-
way?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be kids. It could be adults. It could
But then
be
I
the
was
MLB.
an umpire at the Little League level, and I
Didn't have
got
the
fed up.
chops.
I hated it.
Didn't have the chops for it.
No, I didn't. They
don't blame
criticized me, so then I had a vendetta
Criticized you.
against
So,
this Little League team.
This is what this is. This is like a trauma response. This is you because you got,
The man in the arena.
People came after you. True. People came after you because you made bad calls behind the plate as an umpire in a youth league. So therefore, you vowed never to speak badly about a referee again because you don't want them to feel what you felt.
I've never felt
right or-
as good as I felt when I punched a kid at the plate where I knew that he was safe. a play at the plate
So
to end the game.
so
I
you
chose to
spited
end the ball game.
You spited the wrong call. That's a problem. That's a problem.
There it is. We were looking for it. There it is. So you will fix games because of your personal vendettas.
And out of spite.
But professional referees, you took sides. But professional referees are incapable of doing so, or if they are capable of doing so, you're not willing to admit it.
They're not capable of doing so. That's how they get how high they are in their ranks. I respect the stripes. Takes a lot. I can never do that.
Hold on, but you took the shield and you urinated
and I promptly dismissed myself. Do you see me
Respect the
refereeing
stripes.
games in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast? No, I would never hold
Where's
that
Dave?
honor.
You kids are on fire. I think respect the stripes might be another promo-worthy thing on this show today. You respect the stripes. Fair play to you.
Oh, he was clearly safe.
You can't burn a kid. You can't do that. You can't do that. And then all of a sudden vow to never speak badly about referees again when you know referees have similar judgments. What about the guy in the NBA ref whose whole family was Celtics fans after he called that terrible game last year in the postseason? What about that? What was his name? I can't remember his name. Go ahead.
I don't either. But when I punched the kid out, I took off my shin guards and I threw him to the fence. I said, "You happy?" Yeah.
Wow.
Try me next time.
Wow, there's our role
back Wednesday night.
The role model of Russo and Rizzo, Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo saying so long on a Monday edition of the program. Miss any of it? Listen back. Russo and Rizzo, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts on ESPN 106.3.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percent